Whenever I want a quick getaway, I go to New Caledonia, and when I was over there, I had the most spectacular food. The dish that I'm just about to prepare for you is called Bougna, and traditionally Bougna was made by the Kanak people, and it's done for a celebration. So lots of chicken, lots of root vegetables, and it's cooked in banana leaf under the ground in some coals. Now this dish is so beautiful, but of course I can't cook it in the ground today, so I'm going to do a modern version. You need to get a really big heavy base casserole pot just like this, and we need to get our veggies on first. So this is a sweet potato, but in New Caledonia they're called manioc, and they taste like sweet potato, but they've got a wonderful nuttiness to it. So I'm going to use just our standard ones that we get here. This is quite a large one, and what I'm doing here is just grating it or scratching it with a fork. And what this does is it allows all the juices from the coconut milk and the chicken to penetrate the veggies so they taste just spectacular. And I'll also do it for the carrots here, just running your fork all the way around it. And I'll do the same for the parsnips, run your fork around. So once you've done all of the scratching of the vegetables, just get a knife and you want to cut them around the same size. So these will just cut in half there. These carrots into big chunks, so we'll cut them into 4, and this is quite large, so I'm going to cut it in half to start with, and then we'll cut it into 4 pieces. Now this cooks quite fast, it cooks faster than the carrots, so I put the carrots and the parsnips on the base of our casserole. I haven't got the heat on at all. I'll also just add a very small amount of oil. You don't need much at all, and we'll season each layer too. So salt goes in. We just arrange our sweet potato, and the potatoes, again, we're just going to scratch them lightly so we can penetrate those beautiful flavours. Perfect. We'll cut these in 4, and then they go in next. Now the chicken. So I've got a whole chicken here. I'm just going to open the pack and then cut it into 8 pieces. Now the first cut is between the breast and the leg here, so we just cut straight around, removing the thigh and then cutting through that bone. I'm going to cut that into 2. Okay, and we'll do the other side. There are so many different other proteins you could use for this. Seafood works really well. A mixture of prawns, different types of fish would be a really beautiful alternative. Now that we've got our legs off, we can take our wings off. So just run your knife around it. That comes off really easily. And I'm just going to take the wing tip off. So one wing, and we'll do the other side. And again, take the little wing tip off. And now for the breast. So I'm going to leave the breast on the bone. So we're just going to cut straight through the soft bone there. And then I'll actually leave that for stock because that is flavour. Now all of this breastbone is really soft, so you can just, with the heel of your knife, just cut straight through it, turn it over, and then don't break that skin, just gently cut through it. Now let's place them in, nestle them over the potatoes there and the sweet potato, and a good seasoning of salt, because there's not many flavours going in here. I'm not adding spices, so you do need to season it well. A touch of pepper, but not too much. So just with another knife here, I'm going to slice some onions, and they can go next, and just scrunch them up so they spread out. And for some extra sweetness, some tomatoes. You don't want to use canned tomatoes for this because we just want a small amount of juice. So we're going to cut them into quarters, and just with your hands, squeeze them over to extract the juice. Some thyme, a good amount of thyme over the top, and some fresh parsley. I've got 2 sprigs here, stalks and all. Just break it up, place it on top just to protect the meat on the top there. And we need a little bit of liquid, so I add a touch of water. You don't need to overdo the water because all of those vegetables in there and the chicken is going to give a little bit of the moisture there. And our coconut milk, so we're just going to pour that on. this is a coconut chicken, but it's just a different way of cooking it. Cooking it at a high heat at 200 degrees for about 30 minutes and then turning it down to 150 and cooking it for 2 hours. The meat just falls off the bone. The veggies are so soft. It's just a delicious, hearty meal to have with people that you're sharing with. Now, we want to try to replicate the Bougna oven. So I've got some baking paper here. We're just going to scrunch it up to start with, and that just helps it mould in there nicely. And then 2 pieces of foil go on top. Place that in there. We're going to place the lid on top, and then we can start the cooking process. Now, after 2.5 hours of this cooking in the oven, the smell is just phenomenal. You can smell that coconut milk that we added. And let's reveal it. We'll take off the lid. We'll take off all of this paper here. Oh, it smells even better when you remove that. And you can see how much it's cooked down because there was a little bit of weight there, and that's just cooked really slowly. You're just left with all these wonderful juices. See these juices here? That is just liquid gold there. And to serve this up, let's just put a few of the potatoes on a plate here. This has just almost become puree, which is just so good. It's become really, really sweet. And then I'm going to get one of these little chicken legs, which is my favourite part. Some of the chicken breast there on top. And one more for good luck, the chicken thigh. Just nestle him in there. And the most important, I find, is that coconut broth. A big spoonful of that over the top there. And traditionally, this would be served in a banana leaf. I don't have one today, so I'm just garnishing it with some of the flavours that we did add to it, which was some parsley. So some fresh parsley on the top. What a beautiful dish, simple dish, the taste of New Caledonia right on that plate.